my thoughts on tonight's episode of Arrow, titled "Sins of the Father." And this was an episode that I didn't know what to expect. The previews for the episode made it seem like this episode was going to be like the end of Malcolm Merlyn. Oh, is Oliver going to do it? Me knowing the marketing of this show and how they've marketed things in the past, I knew that Malcolm was not going to be killed by Oliver. I knew he wasn't going to die. Like, that element of surprise, like, that the show wanted us to feel. For me, like, I felt like for most of the episode, I just felt like I was just like, okay, whatever. But overall, I was actually really surprised by this episode. Not by the whole Malcolm Merlyn thing, but that too. But overall, like, this episode, despite it not being like a part of like the main storyline of the season, you know, it's dealing with Thea's bloodlust kind of, and that's a storyline that I'm kind of glad is finally coming to an end. It's kind of been this like, not. I just feel like that's kind of like a weight on the show, you know, since they brought Thea back from the dead and introducing this whole bloodlust thing. I haven't been that drawn into it as a storyline. It's not a bad storyline by any means. I just haven't felt all that drawn to it. And this episode, well, first of all, seeing Nyssa back, that was just amazing. And Nyssa is again, I think I mentioned this last week, one of my favorite secondary characters in the show. Seeing her back is awesome. And seeing the fact that she's not going to let the fact that Oliver let Merlyn become Ra's al Ghul like stop from, you know, taking the mantle from him. And this episode had so much going on and I actually really enjoyed. Seeing Felicity's mom when she finds out that, you know, Felicity's father is back and he's trying to contact Felicity and trying to develop a relationship with her. And that conversation that Felicity has with her mom, that was the most mature I've ever seen her mom. Also the first time I've ever seen her wear actual pants and not a dress. But that's besides the point. But that was Charlotte Ross as that character. I never really seen her in anything else, but I liked the character at first, but after a while I was like, okay, we get it. Okay, we get it. Okay, we get it. Now it just got really old. This is the first time I felt like Felicity's mom felt like Felicity's mom. Like, felt like a motherly figure that was actually deeply concerned for her father or for her daughter, and wasn't trying to be like her daughter's best friend and trying to be like the floozy little blonde woman. Now, there was more to the character, that she was deeply affected by what Felicity's dad did to her, and that she's not going to let what happened to her happen to her daughter. And I bought into that. I really believed it. I liked seeing that a lot. What else? As much as I've been on I'm kind of burnt out on Malcolm Merlyn, to be honest. But seeing the fact that he's still, like, in the episode when we as the audience find out that he knows about Oliver's son William, the first time he's been brought up since the Arrow and Flash crossover to begin with. Again, besides the point. Seeing that Malcolm Merlyn always has another thing going on. Like, he always has an ulterior motive going on. And seeing that he's always prepared for anything bad to happen to him, like he's ready to retaliate in an instant. And seeing that, I was a little impressed by the character. I mean, I'm not like completely like, oh wow, like, I'm not shocked, but I was like, wow, like that's kind of a low place to go. Especially by the end of the episode when we see Malcolm Merlyn go to Damien Darhk, and Malcolm Merlyn being a little. I don't think Malcolm Merlyn is a badass anymore. Like, I really don't. I don't like using this kind of language in my videos or in general. But Malcolm Merlyn's a punk little bitch. Like, I'm sorry. The fact that he goes running to the other bad guy as soon as, like, he's defeated by Oliver. And Oliver spared his life. Oliver could have killed him. And yet Malcolm Merlyn's like, oh, I know who Oliver's son is. He loves him more than Felicity. You can kill him. Like, what are you doing, Malcolm? Grow the fuck up. Again, excuse my language, but it's just... I'm tired of going that aspect of the character. And then Merlyn did the same thing last year when he like tried to go into Ra's al Ghul. It's like, okay, I'm on your side. Like, Oliver's doing this. Like, dude, just come. I'm tired of Malcolm Merlyn. And seeing Oliver slice his hand off. And first of all, seeing Oliver in this episode, I like the character development of Oliver and seeing that he's not gonna kill him. Yes, he said he was gonna, but I think we as an audience was like, Oliver's gone there before. He's willing to kill again. And none of us would be surprised if he did kill Malcolm Merlyn. But seeing that he was so dead set and like there has to be another way, that is the Oliver Queen that I want to see. The Oliver Queen, more of the Oliver Queen from the comics, who's not willing to kill. He doesn't see killing as an option. He doesn't see like, oh, Nyssa has to die or Malcolm has to die. He has to be like, no, there has to be where you guys can both get out of this alive. And seeing that throughout this episode, I really, really enjoyed it. And seeing the fact that he stepped in front of Nyssa and like said, like, as your husband, you know, I have to defend you. And the fact that it got the whole episode, like, Nyssa kept referring to Oliver as husband and Thea as sister-in-law. That was really, it was weird. And that was the only thing in the episode that kind of took me out of it, like, because it was supposed to be all serious. And it was just, like the whole, like, husband thing kind of took me out of it. It wasn't, like, a bad thing. It was just kind of weird. But again, seeing Oliver step out in front of Nyssa to, like, you know, so he can fight Merlin himself so Nyssa wouldn't kill him. And we finally see Oliver slice Merlin's hand out. That was badass. And that was really a jaw-dropping scene for me. Because it goes to show, like, Oliver has developed as a character. And that's something that I've been really, like, for most of this season, he's pretty much felt like the same Oliver that's been on this. He hasn't really changed a whole lot except for his whole no-killing rule. He's not killing as much, but still, he's willing to do it. But this is the first time in a long time where I felt like there's really some real character growth in Oliver. And hopefully that means we'll see more of it moving forward. What else? Especially by the end of the episode when, you know, like, when Nyssa basically like disbands the League of Assassins. That was awesome, by the way. And when she like melts the ring and Merlin tries to threaten Oliver and he's like, Merlin, you will not threaten me, or whatever the line was. That was awesome. Again, seeing more confident Oliver, not going to let Merlin like push him around. Because Merlin has pushed him around ever since they were aware of each other's abilities. And of course, like I also like seeing Laurel being a badass in this episode, and also standing in front of the League of Assassins with Oliver and Diggle. And the little bits of her we see, you know, trying to stop Nyssa from doing what she's doing. Because that was a relationship that I really enjoyed seeing last season that I wish they would have developed into more. Not necessarily like a romantic relationship. It could have gone that way. I wouldn't have minded as a fan. I just wish that we saw a little more of that in this episode. But we did see, you know, like, Nyssa was like, how is Sarah, blah, blah, blah. Oh, she wasn't like, oh, she like time traveling, but and then she doesn't have the bloodlust anymore. Like, of course, I don't want to mention that. But whatever. Another thing I actually surprisingly liked about this episode was seeing Felicity by the end of the episode. Because throughout the episode, she's like, oh, I don't know if I can trust him. Like, I want to believe him, but I don't want to believe him, blah, blah, blah. And by the end of the episode, she's like, when her father's trying to develop that relationship with her, she's like, you know what, like, I know exactly who you are, I know what you've done, like, I'm not going to let you do that to me. And then here come the police and arrest her dad right away. And her dad is a character, like, the last couple episodes, I really have not cared for anyway whatsoever. So, if anything's good riddance of the calculator. But, overall, this was a really, really great episode. Better than I thought it was going to be. Not the most memorable episode by any means. But at the same time, there's a lot I enjoyed out of it. Clearly, seeing character development all over, seeing Nyssa back. Hopefully we see a little more of Nyssa now that she's not tied to the League of Assassins and they don't have to deal with going to Nana Parbat or whatever. I'm excited for this next set of episodes, and I'm excited to see Vixens here soon. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for me. So if you guys like what you see here, go ahead, subscribe below. I do review all these superhero shows every week. I review Supergirl on Mondays, Flash on Tuesdays, Arrow obviously on Wednesdays, Legend of Tomorrow. We'll be reviewing that tomorrow. And also tomorrow, if you guys want to catch my new Deadpool movie review, I will be seeing that. My review will probably will be up sometime around, like, I'll probably, like, say, like, 10:30 or 11 o'clock. So if you guys want to check that out, and all the other stuff on my channel as well. So yeah, that's going to be from me, guys. So until next time, have a good one.